My name is Emily Watson, and the day I stopped being my sister's ATM was the day I stood in my Melbourne kitchen, staring at a bank statement that showed another $2,000 drained from my savings, transferred to her account with a memo that read "Family Emergency." My phone buzzed with her latest text. I swear I'll pay you back next week. Love you. I'd seen that promise before. Hundreds of times, attached to thousands of dollars I'd never see again. My sister, Chloe, had been bleeding me dry for years, her smile and apologies always enough to keep me hooked. But that humid February evening, as I crumpled the statement in my fist, something inside me snapped. I wasn't just done lending her money. I was done letting her use my love as a blank check. And when I finally turned her own game against her, I didn't just take back my money. I took back my life. Chloe and I grew up in a small house in Geelong, 2 years apart, with parents who worked long hours to keep us fed. I was the older sister, the responsible one, the one who made sure homework was done and lunches were packed when Mum was pulling double shifts at the hospital. Chloe was the dreamer, bright, charming, always spinning stories about the big life she'd live someday. "You're my rock, Em," she'd say, her blue eyes sparkling, and I'd feel proud, like being her anchor was my purpose. Our parents reinforced it. "Look after your sister, Emily. She needs you." I took it to heart, not knowing it would become a cage. By the time I was 25, I'd built a steady life in Melbourne. I worked as a project coordinator for a construction firm, decent pay, benefits, a small flat with a balcony where I grew herbs in mismatched pots. I wasn't rich, but I was careful, saving for a house, budgeting every cent. Chloe, on the other hand, chased dreams that never landed. She'd start a boutique, then abandon it when sales were slow. She'd book acting gigs, then blow the money on nights out. Every few months she'd call, her voice thick with tears or bubbly with charm, asking for a little help. Rent, car repairs, a business opportunity. I'd transfer the money, my savings shrinking, her promises piling up like unpaid bills. It started small, $100 for a phone bill, $300 for a temporary loan. But it grew. By last year, I'd given her over $15,000, pieced together from my savings, my credit card, even a small loan I took out when she swore she'd lose her flat. Each time, she'd hug me, call me her lifesaver, and promise to pay it back as soon as things turn around. I believed her, not because I was naive, but because she was my sister. Because I loved her. Because I thought family meant saying yes, no matter the cost. But the costs weren't just financial. I stopped going out with friends because I couldn't afford it. I delayed my house deposit, watching Melbourne's property market climb out of reach. My boyfriend Tom started noticing, gently at first, then less so. "Why do you keep bailing her out?" he'd ask, his voice tight. "She's using you, Em." I'd snap back, defensive. "She's my sister. You wouldn't understand." But deep down his words stung, because I was starting to wonder if he was right. The breaking point came a year ago at Mum's 60th birthday. I'd planned a quiet dinner, just family, at a restaurant I couldn't really afford. Chloe showed up late, glowing in a new dress, her nails freshly done, a designer bag on her arm. I'd transferred her $500 the week before for rent. And there she was, looking like she'd never missed a bill. During dinner, she laughed, charmed everyone, told stories about auditions that almost panned out. When the bill came, she patted her bag and said, "Oh, I forgot my card. Can you cover me?" Mum smiled, oblivious. Dad nodded, proud of his generous daughter. I paid, my jaw tight, my card screaming. Later, in the car park, I asked her about the $500. Her smile didn't falter. "Oh, I had to pay a deposit for this acting workshop. It's a big deal. Could be my break." I stared at her, the dress, the bag, the manicure. "You said it was for rent," I said, my voice low. She laughed, airy, dismissive. "I'll sort it. Don't worry, you're the best." She hugged me, her perfume sharp, and walked away. I stood there, the night air heavy, feeling like I'd been slapped. That's when I started keeping track. Not just mentally, but deliberately. I opened a notebook and wrote down every loan, every promise, every time she'd asked for money and what she'd spent it on. I dug through old texts, emails, bank statements. $200 for car repairs, followed by photos of her at a rooftop bar. $1,000 for medical bills, followed by a trip to Bali. The numbers added up, but so did the lies. My sister wasn't just borrowing money. She was stealing my life, piece by piece, and calling it love. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Confronting Chloe was like trying to catch smoke. She'd cry, charm, or deflect, and I'd end up apologizing. Instead, I started planning. If she thought I'd keep being her ATM, she was about to learn I could close the account. The plan took shape over weeks, fueled by a quiet rage I hadn't known I could feel. I didn't want to just stop lending her money. I wanted her to face what she'd done, not in private, but in front of the people she cared about most. Our family, her friends, the social circle she'd cultivated with her charm. Chloe thrived on being the fun sister, the one everyone loved, the one who could do no wrong. I was going to take that away from her. First, I needed evidence. My notebook was a start, but I needed more, something undeniable. I started saving everything. Screenshots of her texts begging for money, bank transfer receipts, her Instagram posts showing off purchases she couldn't afford. I found an old email where she'd promised to pay me back by next month for a $1,500 loan. Sent the same week she'd posted about a new leather jacket. I cross-referenced dates, amounts, lies. It was meticulous, almost obsessive, but it gave me control. For once, I wasn't reacting to her chaos. I was shaping it. I also started recording our conversations. Not every time, just when she asked for money. I'd meet her for coffee, let her talk, my phone tucked in my bag, capturing her excuses. I just need $300 to get through this week, she'd say, her voice soft, pleading. I swear, I'm so close to a big roll. I'd nod, say, I'll see what I can do, and transfer nothing. Later, I'd listen to the recordings, her words a mix of manipulation and carelessness. She didn't even try to hide it anymore. She thought I'd never stop. The hardest part was keeping up the act. Every time she hugged me, every time she called me sis, and promised to make it right, I wanted to scream. But I smiled, played the supportive sister, because that's what kept her guard down. She thought I was still her safety net. She didn't know I was weaving a trap. The perfect moment came faster than I expected. Our cousin's wedding was in 3 months, a big fancy affair in a vineyard outside Melbourne. The whole family would be there, along with Chloe's friends, her acting contacts, even a casting director she'd been trying to impress. She'd been talking about it for weeks, posting about her dress, her plus one, how this was her chance to network. I knew it was the stage I needed, a place where her image was everything, where a fall would hit hardest. I started preparing like it was a project at work. I turned my notebook into a presentation, simple but devastating. Screenshots, audio clips, bank records, all organized into a timeline of her lies. I called it The Cost of Family. I burned it onto a USB drive, tested it on my laptop, practiced my delivery in front of my mirror. I didn't want to sound angry or bitter. I wanted to sound like truth, cold and clear. I also reached out to people who'd seen Chloe's patterns. My cousin, Sarah, admitted Chloe had borrowed $400 from her last year and never paid it back. A friend from her acting group, Mia, told me Chloe had a reputation for forgetting debts. They were hesitant to speak up. Chloe's charm was a force, but they gave me texts, emails, proof. Each piece made my case stronger, my resolve harder. The night before the wedding, I lay awake, picturing Chloe's face when the truth came out. I imagined her smile crumbling, her eyes darting for an exit, her voice trying to charm its way out. It wasn't joy I felt, it was justice. She'd taken so much from me, but I was about to take something from her. The illusion she'd built on my back. The wedding was everything Chloe wanted it to be. Elegant, crowded, dripping with opportunity. The vineyard was golden in the late afternoon sun, tables set with flowers, laughter floating over glasses of wine. Chloe was in her element, flitting between guests in a shimmering green dress, her laugh loud enough to turn heads. She spotted me, waved, and called, You look amazing. So glad you're here." Her voice was warm, but her eyes flicked over me, assessing, like she was checking if I was still hers to control. I smiled back, my USB drive in my purse, my heart steady. The reception had a projector for speeches and slideshows. A montage of the bride and groom was planned. I'd done enough event planning to know how to work a room like this. During cocktail hour, I found the AV guy, a lanky kid named Josh, and said, "Hey, I've got a surprise for the family. Can I add something to the slideshow?" He nodded, barely looking up from his phone, and handed me the cable. I plugged in the USB, my hands calm, my mind sharp. The speeches started after dinner, the crowd tipsy and sentimental. Chloe gave a toast, her voice lilting, charming everyone with stories about our cousin. People clapped, smiled, raised glasses. I waited, my purse on my lap, until the MC opened the floor for any last words from the family. Chloe's eyes flicked to me, a warning, but I was already standing, walking to the microphone. "Thank you all for being here," I said, my voice clear over the hum of the crowd. "This is a day about family, about love, about trust. And I want to talk about what family really means." The room quieted, curious. Chloe's smile froze. I clicked the remote, and the projector lit up with my presentation. The cost of family. The first slide was a screenshot of Chloe's text. I need $2,000 for rent. I swear I'll pay you back." I let it hang there, the crowd murmuring. "I've been my sister's ATM for 10 years, I said. "I've given her over $15,000, my savings, my dreams, because she said she needed me." I clicked again. A bank transfer, followed by her Instagram post of a new dress. Gasps rippled through the room. Chloe stood, her face pale. "Emily, stop this," she said, her voice sharp but shaking. I didn't stop. I clicked to an audio clip, her voice filling the tent. "You're the best. I'll pay you back next week, promise." Then another slide, her Bali trip, posted the same week. "She never paid me back," I said. "Not once. She used my love, my trust, to fund her life while I lost mine." Slide after slide, texts, receipts, her own words. The crowd was silent now, eyes darting between me and Chloe. Our parents, seated near the front, looked like they'd been slapped. Mum's hand covered her mouth. Dad stared at the floor. Chloe tried to interrupt, her voice desperate. "This is a misunderstanding. Emily, you know I'm trying." But the audio kept playing her laugh as she said, "You're too nice, Em. You never make a fuss." Someone in the crowd, a friend of hers, stood and walked out. The casting director she'd been charming all night set down his glass, his face grim. I set the remote down. "I love you, Chloe," I said, looking at her. "But I'm not your ATM anymore. Family doesn't mean bleeding one person dry so another can shine." I handed the mic back to the MC and walked out, the silence behind me louder than any applause. I didn't stay for the rest of the wedding. I drove home, the vineyard fading in my rearview mirror, my phone off to avoid the flood of texts I knew was coming. When I got to my flat, I sat on my balcony, the air thick with summer, and poured a glass of wine. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was carrying Chloe's weight. I felt free. The fallout was messy but swift. By morning, my phone was full of messages, some from family, shocked and apologetic, others from Chloe's friends, admitting they'd been burned by her too. Mum called crying. "I didn't know Emily," she said. "Why didn't you tell us?" I didn't have an answer, not yet. Dad texted, "We need to talk. All of us." I didn't reply. I wasn't ready. Chloe tried to fight back. She sent a long voicemail, sobbing, accusing me of ruining her life. She posted on Instagram a vague apology about mistakes and family drama, but the comments were brutal. "Pay your sister back. You used her." Her acting contacts stopped returning her calls. The casting director unfollowed her. Her image, the one she'd polished for years, was shattered. I didn't get all my money back. Chloe sent $1,000 with a note. "This is all I have. Please stop." I kept it, but I didn't stop. I filed a small claims case for the rest, not because I expected to win, but because I wanted her to face a courtroom, to see her name on a public docket. The case is still pending, but it's a record, a mark she can't charm away. My life changed after that night. I stopped saying yes to everyone. I focused on my graphic design business, taking on clients who paid on time, valued my work. My savings started to grow again slowly, but enough to dream about that house again. Tom and I had a long talk. He apologized for pushing. I apologize for shutting him out. We're stronger now, building something together. My parents are still navigating their guilt, but they're trying. Dad even offered to help with legal fees if the case goes further. Chloe moved to Brisbane, chasing a fresh start. I hear she's still chasing auditions, still posting about her journey. But her posts get fewer likes now, her charm less potent. She's not my problem anymore. Saying no to Chloe wasn't just about money. It was about refusing to be her safety net, her excuse, her ATM. I learned that love doesn't mean giving until you're empty. It means knowing your worth and protecting it. Chloe thought she could take because I'd always give. But I showed her and myself that I'm worth more than her promises. And that's a lesson worth more than $15,000. If you enjoyed this revenge story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from.